Hi guys, Jean here. Welcome to my parlor. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be so grateful if you can do that. You won't believe this. I have started this video about 4 times already, and this is the first time that I have actually restarted a video since I started doing my videos. And you know what? I think I was trying to be perfect and it wasn't working. I am so not perfect, and so it wasn't working. Yeah, that's what happens when you're trying to be perfect. So tonight I want to share with you 5 tools or 5 things that helped me heal after my divorce. Now, I think it would say on the title, I'm not sure what I'm going to put on the title. I think I might put Healing from Divorce and Relationship, because that has to do with relationship as well. Whether you are in a 1 year relationship, a 2 year relationship, um, it's always good to heal that relationship before you move on to another one, no matter how fast you're moving on, because some people move on right away, like my ex-husband. However, I do have to say, um, my ex he was just an amazing person. He was one of the best. He was and is, because he's still alive, the best person, the best human I have known. A very, very gentle person, right? But I think one time Oprah had this book. I think it was a Wally Lamb. What is that? Wally Lamb book. One of those, Wally Lamb, if I'm pronouncing his name properly. And in that book, the first few words in that book, I need to find out what the name of the book is, but I do know the name of the author, Wally Lamb. Yes. And the first sentence in the first chapter of his book, he said, "You know before you know." And this woman was outside of her house in her backyard, I believe. And she was hanging clothes on a line. And as she hung the clothes on the line, that is the thought that went through her head. You know before you know. And I'm saying that to say, I knew long before I got a divorce, or that I left or we split, I knew that that was a huge possibility. A huge possibility. And usually you know that because if things don't change, something or the sort happens, right? So I knew that that was a huge possibility. And so um when we did split, and again, here is the thing, it doesn't matter who left who. Healing is important. I witnessed so many women that goes through years tangled in divorce and cannot, come out, that has lawyers and spend a lot of money, or they are angry because it's he did what and she did what, and it's just a blame game. At the end of the story, the most important person, um, after a divorce or a separation, because you start healing right after the separation, you do need to take care of yourself. You do need to heal yourself. You do need to find some form of a forgiveness in yourself and your soul and your body, no matter what happened. Whether it was an amicable divorce, whether it was, one that was traumatic, one that was in abuse, whatever it is, a healing process is so, so important. And a lot of people skip that part because we get so caught up in who did what and when and all the things like that. And but when I went through my divorce, I basically had the understanding that I need to heal. And now I understand that I needed to heal because of my spiritual practice, because I was in a state of mind that was, already had such a huge um, background or inside healing already, in a sense. And when I say healing already, in a sense, I have already been at a place where I spent a lot of time unloading my trauma and my wounds, not necessarily from my husband, my ex, because he has never really, he wasn't abusive. He wasn't, we didn't have any trauma bond. All it is that the way I was growing and the way he was growing was very, very different. And I believe what I wanted and what he wanted was different as well. I wanted us to go to therapy, you know. That's, that would have helped. But we didn't. So, I wasn't sticking around because what I really needed, and I'm sure that he needed lots as well. And I guess in what I believe for us is that somehow we had resentment that built up that didn't get solved, didn't get worked out. So ultimately, I was deep in my spiritual practice and he wasn't, which is okay. This person doesn't have to be, because a spiritual practice for him was going to take to going fishing, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing at all wrong with that. But as I say, we were growing differently. But I knew that healing was important. And the reason for that is that this person that you were married to, or this person that you were in a relationship with, this person actually was your family. This person became your family. And if you are married, somehow the fact that you sign an agreement that says, well, I didn't say till death do us part, but a lifetime agreement, technically, and you're breaking that. And it's not exactly the piece of paper. Somehow in your system, whatever that part of the system is, because we are a system, part of your system actually is breaking a bond, is breaking a deal, you know, is coming out of something that you promised to stay in. And so, if you don't have to heal on anything else, you have to heal on that breakage, because you are leaving your family. This man is your family. And in my case, I was in my marriage for 17 years, together for 17 years, married for that length of time or something like that. And so I was leaving the person that was the closest to me. And you are leaving the person that is closest to you, or the person that you think is closest to you. Well, you're sleeping on the same bed. I mean, guess what? And some of you may have children, and I know when children is involved, but I'm not speaking on when children is involved at this point. I'm speaking about how you take care of yourself. So whether you're a man or a woman that comes to sit and look at my video, this applies to both. It applies to both, right? So, the five things that actually helped me heal through my divorce, I mean, the biggest one was my spirituality. I had something else. I had something more. I had something that I can, call on that helped me. So if you believe in anything, whether you believe in the universe, you believe in God, you believe in a stone outside or a tree or the birds that is singing or the river, whatever you believe in, you can turn to that, right? That is something that would help you because it's a belief system that you have. If you believe in religion, you can turn to that as well. I turned to my inner, I needed to heal that separation because there is a debt. Something died, you know. Getting married, being in a relationship is a living thing on its own, together with the two of you. So it is a living thing. That's why it hurts so much. That's why our heart is broken. in millions of pieces and we are looking at it on the floor and we don't know how to pick it up. You know, how did we get here? And even if we leave in anger, we are still hurt. Even if we leave because we wanted to leave, we are still hurt. And that's both places. You know, sometimes we check out long before we leave, but we still are separating a bond. So we are definitely need some form of a healing so we can go forward. And if your healing is just forgiveness, that alone is, is the number one thing. You want to forgive yourself, you want to forgive your spouse or whoever it is that has done you wrong. You want to go in there because all your hate is not hurting them. All your, your your trauma or your dislike or your disappointment or whatever it is, it's not hurting the other person, it's hurting you. And I've heard Oprah said that, so it's not, I listen to other people from time to time. But my the five things I actually did after I left, one was I allow my friends to help me, like 100%. Because when I left, I actually wasn't going anywhere. I was going to the YWCA. I didn't have any place to go, but that's who I am as a person. I'm like, it's done. I'm out of here. I have healing to do, and I am going to go to the Y, because, you can go to the YWCA. They take you in from time to time. But before I made it to the Y, I was talking to a friend of mine's because I had to tell my friend that I was leaving, and everybody was in shock for sure. And my friend said, "Well, you're not going to the Y." She gave me another woman that was going through a divorce, and she said, "Go stay with my friend X." And so I went to stay with her friend for a month, and I did pay my rent, of course. Um, in this beautiful big house, when you allow, well, not you allow yourself to receive help, because when you're going through something that feels bigger than yourself, it's really important to get some help, to lean on your friends. It is not a time to be ashamed. It is not a time to be casting blame. Well, you could cast some blame. I mean, you're just coming out of something that is, really pissing you off. But my point is, leave the shame out of it. And even if you're ashamed, still let your friends help you. So my friend helped me. I went to one of my friend house, well, my friend house for a month. And then another one of my friend, she was going away for a few weeks. So I went to stay at her house. And then when I left her house, another one of my friends was leaving for another 2 weeks. So I went to her house. And then I ended up going to my really, really good friend house with her family because I needed family love and care. And then I ended up moving into this big house that I end up sharing with a few other people. But my point is, leaving, it was like a roller coaster ride. I understood there was no such thing as security and safety. We believe that we are safe and we believe that we have security. But when you really actually feel like the rug is pulled under you, believe me, you on a roller coaster ride. You up and you're down and you're up and you're down. And at the time, I wasn't in no position to go rent a place for myself. So I allow myself to be taken care of. And that is what number one is. Allow yourself to be taken care of. Please let your friends take care of you. Let them help you. Let them bring you food. Whatever it is you need, say yes, say thank you. Number two, I walked every single day. Nature is medicine. Nature is movement. Walking is movement. Releasing your emotion as you walk is amazing. Let nature heals you. Let nature help the healing process. Every single day I walk because the minute time I leave the house and I start walking 5 minutes in, all my anxiety, all the stuff that comes up is falling by the wayside. But I had to do it for a while. Walking 1 or 2 days is not going to work. You need to walk for about a year or maybe less. Anyways, you want to walk almost every day. I did it every single day. Three, I use essential oil, lavender at night. That was like my favorite thing. You can use whatever essential oil that you resonate with, or you can use sage, rosemary, or as I said, any choice oil. Rosemary is an amazing essential oil. I love rosemary. Rosemary with Oh, I just love rosemary, but I also love the scent of lavender. And you can also, get rose. It's a little bit more expensive, the rose essential oil, or maybe you can just get one of those, rosy spritz thing, but I prefer the oil. You want to use some of that every night. Every night you go into bed, you want to put yourself to bed the same way you would put your kid to bed, soothing, relaxing, in a loving kindness, forgiveness kind of way. The fourth thing is meditation. I don't know if you know Louise Hayes, but Louise Hayes, oh my God, she was an amazing healer and spiritual kind of guru. She did almost everything late in her life. This whole idea to begin again. She began again every day in a sense, but she did wonderful things in her life, and one of those things was leaving meditation so that we can listen to. And the beauty of Louise Hay's medication, and I'm going to say here, you don't have to listen to her meditation, sorry. You can listen to any meditation that you fancy, that is soothing, that can put you to bed. But here is the key thing about that. You want to listen to a meditation that you can just lie in your bed and you don't have to sit like Wayne Dyer or any of the other spiritual guru with your leg fold in a corner. That was the best thing I can do for myself, because Louise Hayes meditation was that specific one that I listened to every night for like, I don't know when. Um, it tells you to lie down in bed. It tells you to stretch in bed. It tells you that the day has end. It tells you to release the day. Oh my God, it is so good for healing. I recommend it 100%. And you can just Google or, go to YouTube and look up Louise Hay, right? Louise Hayes is with an S, Hays, right? So you can go and look her up on YouTube, and you can just look up my Louise Hayes nighttime meditation and go to town on that, because that is very healing. And the fifth thing I'm going to say before I leave, get some therapy. Yeah, I was fortunate. I live in a town where you can just go to the hospital. Every day at 2 p.m. there was a therapist there, and it was free. Right? I am very privileged and fortunate in that way. I could have done that. Maybe you may have to pay somebody, or maybe you have to maybe get a life coach, but just someone that helps you with your mental chatter, your mental thoughts, your mental well-being, your mental health. You want to get some therapy for that. So that's my 5 tips for healing after relationship and divorce. Please like my video, subscribe to my video, and it's free for you to do. And that would help me so much build this channel so that I can have, can actually retire. Guys, it is in the street out here, like, yeah, do a girl a solid, or do a woman a solid, or do a wise woman a solid, whatever you want to do, you do that. I'm not going to hold you hostage. Alrighty. Um, yeah, so before I leave, I would say do less and be more. Do less, be more, and go in love.